I think you have been pretty lucky that at least you can convert into chargeable hours and kind of thing. But what we see generally in many organizations, including ours, that some people, as you said rightly, that they are go-to person. But then the problem in organization also we see, the more you are relied on, the more work is thrust upon you. And then the incentive is not that proportionate. Okay, so that person feels little bit exploited in mind. He may not express it, but that thing is there. Okay, so how do you, in an organization, the kind of design a system so that this distribution of work is fair, okay, and also it is properly kind of recognized.
And that is why, again, we were lucky, but the chargeable hours again tell a different story. So if 6 of us are here, let's say we're all at similar levels, let's say we're all managers, and if one of us ends up having a 2,000 hour for the year, 2,000 hours, and I have 1,000, it also means that there is not, people are all, as you rightly said, the managers above us are probably favoring, for very genuine reasons, one person over the other. And how do you ensure that there's a balance that we strike? Again, you don't get it perfect, but that's what also the numbers when you say it's lower. Hey, why is my hours lower? And why is it that, are we able to find a good balance? Is the person available? Is the person not working out? What is it? If that's a case of poor performance or lacking certain attributes, then there are action items that comes out of it.
To say that in a fixed remuneration system, that may not be kind of.
It is tough. No, I'm not trying to oversimplify it. But that's some of that narratives will start to emerge fairly quickly. It may take some time, but over a period of time, you can easily make out where those differences are. And that's what we have found. Are we quick to do it in 6 months? Probably not. But a year, and especially when we run 2-year appraisal cycles, we will get to know what the story that's running behind it, either at the individual level, or if there is systematically there is something that is going off that we can identify. A little slow. And I think as the models are now started becoming with AI and everything, we're able to find it a little faster than what we used to do. But that's how we have seen we're trying to do it. Again, I wouldn't say that we are successful.
Another aspect is the employability factor. Say that one person, as you said, maybe a go-to person and he's doing a lot of glue things, okay, in the organization. But when he goes to external world, his representation of contribution, sometimes it is difficult to project. Okay, showcase. So
it is a challenge. Somebody who's really hardworking, somebody who really has a lot of technical knowledge.
Because when he's asked what you have done, so he might be having difficulty in explaining.
Not able to put that across.
Yeah.
And that is very true.
Have you led a team? Have you contributed? No, I have not done any of those things. Then what?
I wouldn't even go that far. Some of them, when they put in the annual exercise, put down what have they achieved through the year.
Like what he says, the trust thing. That is internally you can do, but externally is very difficult sometimes.
That's the onus I would say on the superiors there to be able to pick them up and share that. But yeah, it is. I can never say that with the whole heart that it is always going to be perfect. There's going to be some gaps that hopefully you can plug.
The other thing is measurability aspect. Like for example, from our perspective, academic thing. Like say somebody like you have invested in a training program. So many HR people I interact with, they talk about ROI. I said, how do you kind of measure ROI of a training program? I mean, 5 days he comes and does something. It might be valid for next 30 years. We don't know actually, or may not be valid. So difficult. So I cannot give you a number. Okay, so kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you will keep to answer that, but I asked the question out of the HR, and I know the answer is going to be very difficult.
Or as a teacher, I'm orienting a kind of student. What is the outcome? How do you measure an outcome? It's very difficult.
It's the biggest question in the L&D world, and no one has an answer for it.
Yeah, see, you can, to extent, technical trainings, I break it down to 2 aspects. Technical trainings, you can get some evidence of it as they progress in their engagements and kind of technical aspects of it. Some evidence can be brought about in that. The software trainings that you do, it's through behaviorals. The behavioral aspect is how you measure, and you can't measure it over the next, it's not like today you step out of the training and tomorrow you will be able to measure it. Some of them are wound out. We have tried to do interventions, at 3 months, 6 months, various intervals depending on the programs. But again, it's a science. It's not a science. It's more of an art that I would say in terms of how you measure that, or how do you really know if it's effective or not.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
No, not at all. See, it's a very complex issue, and invariably, what I have found in my experience is that there is a term that we all use, which is the ownership mindset. We want all employees to have an ownership mindset. And what does an ownership mindset mean? It means that you are not boxed into a particular role, which means if you become a CEO of your own function, which means you will dabble into all kinds of things. And that when you do that, the HR system may not always be able to measure it perfectly, because they measure you against a metric that you agreed upon, but that may not, encompass the entire mindset that we say that you have an ownership mindset. Now, when you trace it back and you look at the CEOs, CXOs or the management of the company, and whether they have gone through the trenches of this industry and they are functional experts, which means then you'll be able to find out who actually is contributing far more than somebody who's just been bought in from somewhere, is sitting at the top giving a direction but hasn't been in the trenches with the troops. And the same thing is true of the HR head and the HR team. Now, if you have a different industry person coming in and not really taking an effort to take an ownership mindset of this industry, then you will be able to only picture people in Excels. You will not be able to picture people on the trenches and figure out what an ownership mindset actually means. Now, where I have found magic happen is when the CHRO and the CEO both are actually in sync with and being in the trenches, knowing the industry and knowing the worth of each individual, so that nobody is technically invisible in that sense, but also knowing that no system has kept up in pace with a measurement. That yes, you go far beyond what you're supposed to be doing, but unfortunately we have no way of rewarding. And if that sync comes in, it becomes a little easier for an organization to actually recognize them. And where I have found more things resonate, at least in the organizations that I have been, is there are two ways. There is a reward and there is a recognition. The reward pertains to the monetary benefits of incentives that you do, but a recognition I have found in many cases have been very more useful. So if you have, for example, the spotlight effort or the spotlight awards that you will get at a spur of a moment fortnightly, and you recognize, because sometimes a pat on the back or just a picture of the person on social media does wonders, because then he feels he's appreciated, because you can't technically measure it. Look, like for example, if I'm running an organization which is in all the 750 plus districts in India, there is no way that I would know exactly what is happening in that one particular district. But if his line manager or the managers above are able to spotlight him just on socials, because that's a social currency. Now you don't have to monetarily put out, and it's on the company pages, right? So it makes a world of difference to that person. He really feels that, oh, this company values me. They're making me a kind of brand ambassador by putting my photograph in front. Now, it may not cost the company anything, and it doesn't break any organizational hierarchies or any remuneration benchmarks or anything like that. But I've found that to be really, really worthy, because for the external world, also this transfers. So the trust that you talked about, that how will I tell an outside person the trust is that if you have won the CEO's award, or if you have won the line manager's award, if you have gone beyond recognition, beyond rewards, you've got recognition, that I think travels, right? And if the HR systems are nuanced enough to pick those things, now it could be just a cameraman who's gone beyond his call of duty to cover a disaster that happened, remote in some remote areas, maybe the Naxalite area, and he's covered that, he's put his life at risk. Now, how will you measure it in an Excel sheet? I mean, typically, what is it? It's just a job. You shot a video and you're done with it. The output is that video has given you, millions of live views and things like that, because you happen to be the only person covering that, shootout or an encounter that happened. But you've gone beyond the call of duty. And then this gratification is just the recognition. Because in an organized setup, you'll have far too many things to balance, the bell curves, the 90,000 things that you have to balance. You may not be able to do justice. But I've found that is to be a method that you're just saying that, yes, we hear you, we know you are worthy, and if we are able to retain you, if we are not able to retain you rather, it's our loss. Because the same recognition puts the person in the spotlight for the competitor as well. And then you need to be gracious enough to know that if I can't manage this talent, he's going to go away or she's going to go away, right? So that is a little bit of transparency or a trust that the organization places in an employee, that I know I can't do many things remuneratively or incentive-wise or anything else, but I hear you and I'm calling you out that you are one of the key people here. And then I'm open that if you get poached by somebody else, that I would want to retain you because you are a gem of a person and you're non-replaceable. So I don't know whether that helps, but that's something that I've seen that it kind of works in the industry, at least that I am in.